extension at 702-540-0961. That's 702-540-0961.
All statements heard on this station are that of the program hosts, co-hosts, guests, and callers alone, and are not necessarily those of this station or its affiliates.
Hello, this is LD, Lazy Dog Michael John. I'm going to host a show Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. called Lazy Dog Report. Why don't you come
If people
on by,
understood that.
pull up on the porch,
I mean, I had to be able to understand that and put it in the simplest terms that I know. I'm a pretty simple guy anyway.
We might even become interesting. We'll just see where it goes. Sunday night, 7 p.m. on KPFF.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the Enron case. You remember Enron? That whole thing was they destroyed that company for no reason. They weren't doing that illegal stuff. How do you like that? The deep state destroyed that company.
Well, and Trump goes to Lee County over there in Alabama, and they're all crying about the tornado, right? And another part of his government is who did it.
Well, most people are not going to comprehend that.
How insane is that?
Well, that's the people that we don't know. There's things go on in our government that most of the government people don't know about.
Trump's got to know about that.
I don't think so. If somebody doesn't put it in your face and you can't investigate it.
This is 97.7, Trump's community radio station.
And welcome back. Phone number is 775-751-2579. If anybody has a room for my friend Paul Miller, call me. Not right now because I'm not there. 775-751-8036. Support for KPFF is brought to you by Pure Communication. Pure Communication, 702-628-5662. So, I'm going to switch gears a little bit away from Valley Electric, and I want to talk about the state of what's going on in our country. Our country is moving in a very bad direction. We have politicians that are trying to fundamentally, if you remember these words, fundamentally change the United States of America. And they're trying to change us into a progressive situation, which is socialism. And it's very sad to see what's going on. I'm really worried about civil unrest because there's only so much time that people could deal with this before it gets stupid and out of hand. And, you know, and people may say, well, this guy Anthony's out of his mind. And I don't see these things. But let me tell you a little bit about big government and deep state. If people remember the Enron case, and I watch a little bit of Mark Levin, and he had Sidney Powell on, who used to be a federal prosecutor, and she wrote a book, License to Lie, by Sidney Powell. And that whole Enron case was a destruction of a company by the government for no reason. And it turned out that most of those people that they brought to trial were convicted of nothing, and they had incarcerated a few of the people, at least 4 or 5 of them, and then they were found not guilty. And they destroyed these people's lives over a situation where they didn't like, because it was an energy company. It's a very long situation. It took them over an hour to talk about it, and I don't have an hour. But I think you should look up Sidney Powell, License to Lie. And she puts in there, and one of these guys who was involved in destroying this company from the government was a prosecutor from the FBI. His name was Weissman. Now, if you've been watching the news lately, Weissman is second in command under Mueller on the Trump investigation. And Weissman likes to create these, not investigations, but these theories and these reports that are totally false. And let me tell you, Trump is not going to do a minute of time. He didn't do anything wrong that I could see, and I know some heavy-duty investigators from New York that are FBI investigators in the U.S. Marshal Service, because they're all friends with my friend Vinny from New York. And Weissman is dirty. And he was the one who got the paperwork from Hillary Clinton on the dossier on the Trump administration getting involved with the Russians. And it's all made up. The documents are false. Mueller already said that there is no collusion with Russia and Trump. This is the guy that's going after Trump. He's already saying it. But Congress doesn't want to hear it. Mueller was their messiah, and now they don't want to hear him saying that there was no collusion. They're going to keep going into everything. You cannot investigate a president's background because you don't like him and keep digging in to every piece of paper and every business dealing he had since he's 18 years old. That is not justice. That is a witch hunt. And Trump has been telling you that. And Trump's family is not afraid of being investigated. They're not afraid, but why are we wasting? I mean, Mueller spent over $20 million to do this witch hunt. And Congress is not screaming about the $20 million because they want to take this president down no matter what. And my fear is that they're going to take him out, not just try to take him down. Because he is the monkey wrench in the gears of corruption. See, progressives and socialists, they're globalists. And they believe in one world government. Did you ever hear of the New World Order and the one world government? Well, George Bush, the first, Bush 41, was the first time I've ever heard that. And when he was saying it, I didn't know what it meant. Now, he hasn't been president for over 2 decades. And I'm just starting to learn what that New World Order and one world government is. And you're not going to like it. Okay? You turn around and look at a situation like Venezuela. Now, I've talked on this program a few times about when Ted Turner was saying on TV 40 years ago, we need to eliminate the world population by 90% because they're wasting our resources. Well, aren't they our resources too, and I'm the waste of the resource? Well, who are they to make that decision? But if you go back and look at what's going on in Venezuela, 90% of the population, now remember the numbers. Ted Turner says we need to remove 90% of the population. 90% of Venezuela's population is starving to death. Okay? 90% of their population lives below poverty. 90% of their population has lost a minimum of 24 pounds. Where did that 90% come from? Well, we were told that 40 years ago by Ted Turner. Well, how do you get rid of population? You don't have enough of bullets to kill off 90%. So you starve them to death, you make them sick, you give them diseases that makes them sick. While they're killing you, the pharmaceutical companies are making all the money because you don't feel good. You're going to the doctor, and the doctor's prescribing you medication that may not help you. Only adjust your levels. Like if you're a diabetic, they tell you to watch your A1C and your sugar every day. But metformin and those drugs are not curing you. They're maintaining an acceptable level. But when you go to the doctor, you want to be cured. You don't want a maintained level of illness. You get it? They're not treating wellness. They're treating sickness. And who wants to maintain a level of sickness? You want to be well. That's why you go to the doctor. But the pharmaceutical companies control the doctors. Not because they tell them, you better do this. They control the teaching of the doctors. Do you understand how deep this goes? And how many years this has been going on? Because the New World Order doesn't care if they don't see their vision happen today. They just want to make sure their vision happens. Okay? Just like I want to fight corruption, government corruption, and why I believe in the Founding Fathers. And the Founding Fathers put this together, and they really didn't think that what they gave us was going to hold on for 200 years if we were lucky. Well, we're about 242, 43 years since the Founding Fathers gave us a Constitution and Bill of Rights and the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States. It is not the independence, the Declaration of Independence. It was what they were declaring. They were declaring their independence. And it's called the Unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States. That's the true document's name. Okay? What's that?
The phone was not hooked.
Okay. So, you know, there's things that go on that people want. Hillary Clinton's in her 70s. Okay? She doesn't want to see it happen today. She just wants to know what she was doing is going to happen. But since Barack Obama, it has accelerated. That car of world domination and progressive and New World Order is moving a lot faster since Barack Obama. And Donald Trump is putting the brakes on that vehicle and putting roadblocks up. And that's why they hate him. They don't hate him because he's had numerous girlfriends. They hate him because he's the monkey wrench in the gears of progressivism. We have caller? Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller. Yellow. They hung up. Okay, sorry about that.
Well, I just have on a good roll here.
That's all right. So, you know, there is... The New World Order is that socialism. Do you really think that we're going to be able to get rid of planes? Do you really think that this OAC is really... I'm not saying she's a moron, but she drank the Kool-Aid. And she is naive enough to realize she doesn't have power. They're using her as... They're using her as the bulletproof vest. They're wearing her as the bulletproof vest, so when they get shot at, she takes the hit, they don't. And then when the people revolt against that nonsense, they're going to say, they're going to blame her. They're going to use her as a scapegoat, just like certain people used Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald never pulled the trigger on JFK, okay? He was the patsy, like he said, just before he got shot in the gut. Go ahead, caller. Hey, buddy, what's cooking? Yes, on the 11th, yes. Yes, yeah, the 11th. I won't be able to be there. I got the solar people coming to my house. So when Valley Electric goes belly up, I'm going to still have lights. Yeah, right? Yes, that's, you sign in on the 12th, 5 o'clock to sign in. I would get there around 5:30 because everybody gets there at 5 and they're waiting out line. So by 5:30 the line will dent down and then you can get in there. I mean, you might not get a seat, but it's okay. Oh yeah, there was, a matter of fact, the head count was 200 at the last meeting because they need to have, I think, 1 or 2% of the co-op people there to be able to conduct new business. That's why when a lot of people ran out, you know, they got aggravated and they left, we couldn't conduct new business because we didn't have a quorum. So if people want to have something to say, this is what I love. People want to have something to say, but they can't sit in a seat long enough to have their say. All they want to do is cause disruption. If you want to have something to say and create new business, you have to wait till the end so we have a quorum and we can vote on stuff. Like if we would have kept the quorum there, I could have made a motion, or anybody could have made a motion that we want to remove the entire board of directors. But we couldn't do that because everybody left and we didn't have a quorum.
Well, I remember when they changed the bylaws, it used to be 80 or 10% of the membership is actually joining.
Ex-
Somehow, they lowered it to either 5% or 2%. They're going for 2%.
Right, because they can't get people to the meetings. I mean, this was just District 1. That's the district I live in. But I'm going I'm going Tuesday as press because it's a different district.
Are you still an ambassador? And what is an ambassador?
An ambassador is a person with a blue shirt who's supposed to go around as a puppet and be a go-between between the public and the company. I have a blue shirt because I want to know what's going on for myself. And if I see something good, I'll say it. If I see something bad, I'll give my opinion.
So if somebody wears a blue shirt, they're not an ambassador just because you got a blue shirt.
No, it has to be embroidered with Valley Electric on it.
All right. Big deal.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if on the White Rose show I called in and mentioned something that Judge Walker had told me as far as talking to the legislature about changing one of the NRS. And right now, if anybody is caught with drugs or using drugs, it's a felon. I'm not saying drugs, illegal drugs.
What kind of drug? What kind? I'm talking about what kind? Like just marijuana or heavier than that?
Wouldn't be marijuana.
Okay.
Marijuana is legal. But what she was concerned about, and I don't necessarily agree with her on this point, she said if it's reduced to a misdemeanor, they'll never get to the higher court because there'll be no jury trial and everything will be done in front of justice of the peace. Therefore, a lot of these people won't get the help as far as stopping their habit.
Right.
They can go to district court, you can get in drug court and go into some kind of counseling or whatever, right through the system. Well, my view on that is let's not be locking up more people for minor drug charges and loading our prisons because that's what's been happening. California changed their deal, made it a misdemeanor for minor drug charges. I'm not talking about selling a pound of meth or something like that.
Right.
I'm talking about the minor deal. Let's empty these prisons out. Why should we be locking people up? And we have been for years, costing everybody in this state millions of dollars, housing people that should not be in. They housed you for a year and you shouldn't have been in.
Right. Well, look at Trump. Trump passed made that new law to get people out of prison. And who's the majority of people in prison? Minorities. But they're saying that the minorities hate Trump. The minorities don't hate Trump. Okay? They don't. Okay, so he's smart. He knows. Just like they're screaming about him building the wall because it's going to cost $80 billion. Listen, our criminal justice system is $5 trillion a year. I'm telling you now, if you build that wall, you can cut that money in half. But government people don't want to cut the money in half. They'll have to hire less cops, have less people in prison, have less judges, less cases. You see it every day. They're not doing anything to help anybody who does anything wrong. Especially drugs. That's something that could be corrected. Unless you're a drug dealer, that's not going to be corrected because it's all about the money. But the drug user, it can be corrected.
Well, my opinion on this, I think it should be reduced to misdemeanor and don't be locking these people up. I mean, give them, as part of the sentencing, if they plead in the justice court, give them something like some kind of counseling or rehab, and, it's part of the deal, so they could get what they need. It doesn't have to go in front of a judge where you're afraid to go into prison in order to go to drug court,
Let me tell you, the government don't have to get involved in that. This whole drug court is nonsense because it's constantly...
Drugs and the Rockefeller drug laws would screwed everything up in the country. For all these years we've been watching people being punished and sentenced because they chose a different lifestyle that you and I would not agree with, but why would we lock them up? What Antico was all about was the Hispanics would be arrested for 2 joints in a pocket to get 5 years. That's why they had that. It was on one of these cable stations where they interviewed the guards. It said some of these inmates actually laid over the guards when the state troopers were shooting everybody in New York when they had their prison riot.
Mm-hmm.
And they were risking their lives because what it was so completely unfair that a lot of these people were in there.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been. My stop it out here as far as state of Nevada and Knight County. And I think we ought to seize on it. And Judge Marco can still help the people. She can go to court, she does. She tries to help people get off the drug. So that's
If she likes them. If she doesn't like them, I've known people that she didn't like, and she gave them a hard time.
I watch. I'm aware of the situation.
Okay? If you're in good graces with Judge Wonka, you're going to get help. If you're not good graces with her, it's terrorism that goes on with these people.
And now to mention, why isn't Hillary Clinton, like you were talking, and all that entourage of corrupt people, they're the ones that should be investigated and locked up, and they're going after Trump for, like you said, business deals years ago.
All right.
This Adam Schiff, every time I see him on TV, it just aggravates me to see this guy making accusations. Oh, we've got it on him, we've got it on him. He's just making this stuff up, Anthony, and it's just going too far. I think the public is starting to catch on that this is the Democrats, that this show they're putting on, and they're trying to just bring this guy down.
Well, I truthfully believe that if they start investing in Hillary Clinton and they're going to lock her up, it's going to turn into civil unrest. Because let me tell you something about the progressive people, and especially the young ones. They drank the Kool-Aid. If you lock up Hillary Clinton and you lock up some of these people they worship, they're going to start burning businesses down. Because remember, the business guy who has money is the criminal to them. Socialism, the people who are progressive believe people with money are criminals. And that's a problem. Well, oh, look at that girl. Well, look at, you're talking about the MAGA hat, right? What about that young guy who was eating in a restaurant and the waitress came up to him and just ripped the hat off his head, and she was illegal there. She got deported. Oh, tell him he's got to get me one. I don't know where to get one, so. Yeah, tell him.
All right, I said Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. The same power to the people, thank God, the Savior Christ was saved 4 times. Raise a flag on over and out. Have a good night.
Good night, Ray. So, you know, Ray is right. He watches it, and he agreed with me. Wonka turns around and will help people that she likes. The ones she don't like, she's going to terrorize. And that's not right. It's justice for all, not just the ones you like. See, that's what the problem is. That's why, that's called abuse of power. When you have the power to help everybody, and you only help people because you like them, we have a problem. And, you know, my friend Steve is sitting here because we went to get something to eat before we came out, and Steve has been watching, and he's retired, and he searches the internet for stuff every day. And there's stuff that he sends me, and I put it up on Godfather Vegas on Facebook, which is the Facebook page for this station, Godfather Vegas on Facebook. And there's certain things I don't put up because it's not the... If you people watch this, you would probably think that Steve and I were mental crazy,